All right, it says username's iPhone. What's your name, ma'am?
Katie
Nick,
Adams.
oh, sorry.
All right. This is file 230294SC, River Valley Pool Builders LLC versus Sadie Adams. Parties are present. So I'll just go over the rules of small claims. Essentially, small claims means we're here without attorneys trying to resolve this here with me, as opposed to someone asking for a jury trial in front of the general civil or district court judges. You also cannot ask for more than $6,500, although we are well below that cap. So if all parties are ready to proceed here at small claims today, the first thing I'm going to do is swear in anybody who might be testifying. Go ahead and raise your right hands. Swear or affirm that any testimony you might give here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
All right. So, Mr. Jorgensen, I need to find out what it is you do for River Valley Pool Builders.
I'm the owner.
Okay. I just need to make sure you're able to speak for them. So I don't get too much information on these before they're filed. This is so this is unpaid bill for services already rendered.
Correct.
All right. So this pool has been installed.
Yes, sir.
When?
At the end of last summer, late July, possibly. I don't have the exact date, but
I'm just looking for a when. All right. And is this amount 3,225? Is that, they paid half up front, half later, or that's the whole amount, or how do you do your invoicing?
I don't expect to get anything until we're done. So I don't have anything up front. That's the total amount.
All right. So you've been paid nothing.
Yes, sir. Correct. That's correct.
All right. So then 3,225. Miss Adams, why is it that you are contesting that this bill should be paid?
Upon talking to Nick, I had him do a pool for me once before. Everything was great. Everything turned out fine. So obviously when it was time to move the pool, I called him again, contacted him again. Everything has been great communication wise to come out and put this pool in. He even got us in earlier than we thought we were going to get in. We did the excavation. So we moved the dirt and everything, trying to get it done faster because finding excavating companies to get in there was next to impossible. So we went ahead and did it. And this is, I guess, where the problem starts to come in, when we asked, what type of sand to bring in. And we brought in the type of sand that we were supposed to bring in. And then he said compacting was not necessary. So we did not compact it. The company came out. He didn't come out. He sent his guys out, which is fine. They came out and set everything. And then started, so it took days. Like they left for a couple days, they started it, left for a couple days, came back, and when it came time to put the water in, like they didn't do that part. Like we put the water in, and then we were responsible for letting the liner in all the way around the pool as the water filled, which I understand it was time consuming because it was a couple hoses. We went and got larger PVC to try to make it go a little bit faster. But we let this liner in. I don't know if we did something wrong at this point, like putting the water in the pool and letting the liner in slow as we were instructed. We sent pictures to Nick throughout this process. Are we doing this right? Is this how this is supposed to be? He said, yeah, it was, how it was supposed to be. He asked for pictures of the progress. We sent pictures of the progress of where the water line was at. And now, so yeah, I did hold off on paying because as this pool was put together, the bottom has started to wash out. It's not a little bit of washout. I took some photos on my phone. I don't know how to get those to you, but I have literal gaps underneath this pool, and I have trenches in the bottom of this liner. And one of the techs that when I had asked him and told him my concerns, he said I could try to push it around with my feet. Like, this is not something that can be pushed around with your feet. I'm talking like ankle breaking. If you walk across the bottom of this pool, the trenches on here are easily 3 inches deep. And it washes all the way underneath the entire length of the pool out to the side yard and into the neighboring farmer's field. So I don't know if it was something we did or if it was because the sand wasn't compacted or what exactly the problem was. But his response to me was, yeah, that happens sometimes. Well, my kids can't jump around in the pool and not worry about twisting their ankle. Like, I'm going to have it redone. I have like 2-inch gaps where you can see the metal ring liner on the sides of the pool. Like, I can see underneath parts of this pool. And on the back side, I guess it would be the field side, so the east side, there's a line, a whole trench line out of the side, off to the side of the yard where this water has washed out underneath the pool. So it's washed out the sand that's underneath the pool and has caused all this trenching. Well, it's not a matter of just taking this pool down and redoing it or redoing the liner. I can't reuse that liner. I have to buy a new liner. And it's shifted to the point where the caps on this pool, where it comes together, the caps are off. And I
Well,
took photos of that
let's hold
too.
up a little, because we're going into, what's going wrong. So, but essentially, it sounds like you're installing the pool. So is this price literally just buying the pool?
No,
Mr.
I bought the
Jorgensen,
pool.
well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
let me talk to Mr. Jorgensen. Mr. Jorgensen, for $3,225, what do you get from your company?
Okay, so they asked to, my whole price for that size pool is $3,700. And that includes excavation. They're responsible for have the sand on site ahead of time, and they were capable. And so I gave them a $700 credit for they're preparing the ground. They leveled the ground off. And what we did, we'll come in at that point once the ground is prepared and the sand is placed, and come in and build the pool. When we got there, the flat bottom pools, generally we fill with a vacuum and garden hose in order to save the customers the cost of the water truck. When we do that, we'll vacuum it in and we'll throw the garden hose in the pool and let the water level come to a certain level at a duct tape mark. And then the customer will tell us that to come back and we'll cut the holes in. In their case, they had a heavy duty liner, which isn't conducive for vacuuming. So we need to pull it over the top and feed it down. I was trying to rush them in ahead of a party. So instead of having a water truck come and, the $600 to $1,200, depending on the cost of the water truck, I told them they could start filling with their hose if they'd like to. And I told them how they could feed the liner down if they wanted to. It certainly wasn't, they didn't have to do that. We were just trying to
All right,
help.
so hold on a second. I just want to go through some things.
Sure.
So $700 credit because essentially they did the site prep.
Exactly.
All right. And then essentially you have a slower or more expensive way you would have normally filled this pool.
Yeah, well, right. We would, it depends on the customer. There's lots of variables, but we could bring a water truck in and fill the pool quickly and be done the same day, basically. I was prepared to do most of the flat bottom pools that don't have deep ends. We don't use the water truck. We use the vacuum to save the money. And then that requires coming back a couple days later when the water is up. Generally, the liner has been vacuumed in and the customer is not responsible for anything. But because of the heavy liner, we stretch it over the top rail and the water feeds it down slowly to get it flat across the bottom. So
so for expediency or for price, they opted to do that part themselves instead of having you do it.
Yes.
Which one? It would have been faster or cheaper or both?
I would think it would be both, because at that time a water truck's not available on the spot. It's a few days out.
And I suspect I know the answer to this, but what is it that causes trenching?
Well, likely there's several things. in clay soils, the ground often heaves and shifts. The extent that she's describing, to me, it more likely sounds like a rain gutter or some type of downspout that is underneath the pool that didn't get discovered during excavation. If the trenches are as big as she's describing, that's not, during common installation, that doesn't occur. It sounds to me like something else, a larger factor has occurred.
And I'm sorry, so you did excavation, but they just then put in sand and you didn't do
No.
excavation either?
No.
All right. So there's my problem with that, Miss Adams, is this is sort of clearly pointing to installation issues, but this company didn't do your installation.
Well, and part of the problem is, like, I didn't realize, I wasn't told I had to get a lighter duty liner. I sent pictures of the type of liner and he said, yes, that's fine. And then I went and purchased that liner. I went and picked it up and that's what I bought. And now I'm hearing, well, because the liner is too heavy, we couldn't vacuum it in. Well, I didn't know that. And I have no idea what that process is. And it's 50 feet
Sure.
off the house.
Sure,
There's no
but
downspout
who
or
is it that's
anything.
ultimately opting to make this process go faster and or do it parts of it themselves to save money?
It was not about saving money, it was the time. So yes, we did
Okay.
excavate and flatten it out. So, and then it was supposed to be, because we were trying to get it done before the 4th of July, which didn't happen anyways. And we were not told, well, you should get a water truck instead of feeding this liner in yourselves. That was not why that happened. It wasn't, oh, well, you have to go get a water truck. You should get a water truck now, since we're not making this 4th of July deadline anyways.
The problem is I can't find how this is something went wrong, but it's not anything the plaintiff did.
Correct. I mean, I guess, I don't know.
Well,
I don't, yeah, maybe it's something that
certainly
we did.
doesn't rise to the level where I would assess damages against the plaintiff. Everything the plaintiff was
No.
supposed to do for this money happened. There
Okay.
are problems,
Yeah.
but the problems strongly indicate that it's problems with either how the site was prepped or how it was filled. And neither part of that they did.
Right. We weren't supposed to have to be the ones to fill the pool and to feed in the liner. We had no idea that was going to be part
But
of
you
the,
opted to because you wanted it done on a different timetable.
we didn't have a choice whether or not we were going to feed in the liner. They showed up, snapped together these edges, and were gone in 4 hours. And then we fed it in.
Ma'am, let me explain to you what your options are here. I would find in this that I would award this damages to plaintiff in the amount of the original contract of $3,225. Plaintiff also paid certain monies out of pocket to get us here today. They had to pay a filing fee. They had to pay to have you served. That was $117.62. I just want you to know that they're able to recoup that as well. It is considered separate. It's what we call costs, but you have a total here of $3,342.62. Now, because we did have a contested hearing, either party has a right, although I'm not sure why Mr. Jorgensen would appeal. Either party has a right to say, I don't agree with what just happened there. I want this to go in front of general civil, in front of the district court judges. Although I would caution you that that generally involves attorneys because it is by the rules of evidence, it's far more formal than what we do here in small claims. But to do that, you must do two things. One, that request must be in writing, and that request must be within 7 days of today's date. Otherwise, that window of opportunity closes. And then what parties would need to do is be in contact with each other, because the court doesn't do collections, to talk about how and when this judgment would be satisfied. Everybody understand their rights on appeal?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, then we are all set for what we needed to do here. I'm going to go ahead and release parties. Thank you.
Thank you.